When I married Jeretta, she was 8 years older than me. I was crazy about her. She was cute, intelligent, and extremely organized.
My dad didn't set a very good example for men in my life. I never told anyone why my mother shot him in the head. Too bad he lived.
I was so in love with her, I bought us a new home and landed a great paying job. It was the perfect beginning.
I trusted him, sort of, but not the women. He was only 22 years old, too good looking, and you know women.
On our honeymoon in Hawaii, the hula girls went into the crowd and randomly greeted guests with floral lays and traditional kisses on the cheek, and I received one.
He let her kiss him on our honeymoon. I demanded that we leave immediately.
I had no idea what I did wrong. The more I tried to defend myself, the angrier she became. Back in our room, totally frustrated, I put my fist through the wall.
Whenever we'd go out, women would flirt with him. Whatever he believed, he wasn't strong enough.
My love was unshakable. I believed if I stood fast and loved her through her episodes, she would eventually feel secure. But after 3 years of tirades, I began shrinking to fit, becoming someone I wasn't.
One night, I came out of a restaurant bathroom, and again, he was standing there with a little waitress slut. They were chatting and smiling. I lost it.
My wife flew into another jealous rage. We had a huge fight. This time I put my foot down.
He said,
You say you trust me, but I'm the one suffering from your anger.
He said maybe he should just do it, have an affair.
At least then I would deserve it.
I knew that's exactly what he wanted, but I wasn't going to let him blame me for doing it. I never said another word about anything, ever.
After that, life with Jeretta became so much easier.
My husband, he worked out of town every other week, said it was for us and our future, but I never knew.
I remembered special occasions. I sent flowers. She cooked, cleaned, did everything for me. I appreciated her. She was all I ever wanted.
When the flowers arrived, I figured he was trying to cover something. He always had to prove he loved me. Probably felt guilty.
One night, I woke up. I went downstairs and heard Jeretta on the phone telling some guy she loved him.
He threatened to leave. I begged him to stay. Finally, I convinced him. He must have misheard me.
That phone conversation haunted me. One afternoon, Jeretta's nephew, Jimmy, pulled me aside and told me things weren't the same when I was away at work. He insisted that we go to her judo class to see if she was really there. I thought he had an overactive imagination.
It took me a while to develop a plan so that no matter what he might do, it wouldn't hurt me. I created my own friendships and my own life.
So we drove to her class. Jeretta wasn't there. We waited. She never arrived. As we pull into the driveway back home, she drove in too, dressed in her judo gi. I told Jimmy to go inside.
My husband walked up to the car and asked me about judo class.
She rubbed her head and said she'd been thrown and had a bad headache. I asked her to get into my truck and then told her, I went to your judo class. You weren't there.
Of course I was there. I mean, what was I supposed to say? I told him maybe they went to the wrong place.
So I suggested she take me to her gym. She kept insisting that she had been at her class. What was scary is I started to believe her. I had to keep reminding myself I was there, she was not. You were not there.
I was there. As we got closer to the gym, I realized my story wasn't going to fly. You're right, I wasn't at judo class.
In my mind, I said, what? I'm right? Well, of course I'm right, but I never thought she lied about anything. And she was so convincing. I had to know the truth. I stopped the truck. Where were you?
I went to comfort a friend having marital problems, which was somewhat true. Everything was just so complicated, he'd never understand.
My heart sank. My head raced. I couldn't remember the last time that we fought. We made love 3 or 4 times a week. We didn't have money problems. I had a million questions and doubts. I said to myself, don't get mad. Just keep her talking. If your friend needs comforting, maybe we should go to her house.
No, we can't do that. Everything moved in slow motion.
I didn't know what to do or say. So I suggested, maybe we should take a break from each other for a month. Her response was gut-wrenching.
Yeah, a month apart would be good.
I was shocked. What the hell just happened? I moved into one of our guest bedrooms. That was weird. She barely spoke, wouldn't answer questions.
Living in the house separately wasn't that much different than before, just no sex. When he hammered me with questions, my other life seemed better.
After a month of silence at the dinner table, I blurted, maybe we should file for divorce.
He said it casually, like the marriage never meant anything. I always knew he'd eventually leave. I said, I think that would be best.
We divided everything and divorced a month later. I was devastated. Obviously in love with a woman I did not know. And I was angry. I felt worthless, like a failure. I questioned everything.
The divorce went smoothly. I was sad, but by then I was prepared for it.
Six months later, I pulled into a parking lot, and this guy approached me. He said his name was John. He asked me, "Where's Jerry?" I said, "I don't know a Jerry." "Oh, this is her car. I know the plate number." "Her car? I've owned this car for years." "Well, then you must know Jerry." Finally, I said, 6 months ago, I divorced Jeretta." He said, "Yeah, that's her name, but she goes by Jerry." "And you must mean you were divorced 1 year and 6 months ago." "No, we were divorced last November." "That's impossible. I was engaged to marry her 1 year ago. I even worked on this car." Well, no wonder she broke off the engagement. We talked for 5 hours at a restaurant about our parallel lives with Jerry and Jeretta. Holy shit. Her uncanny organizational skills suddenly made sense.
It was probably wrong. I was just trying to protect myself. What I needed was a man who loved me. Neither of them qualified.
Ten years later, I saw Jeretta at a mutual friend's funeral. She'd put on a lot of weight, looked terrible.
At the funeral, he still looked painfully good. We ended up alone for a few minutes, and I finally asked him the question that had haunted me from day one.
She asked me if I had loved her. It was absurd.
He looked at me like I was insane. He loved me. Why didn't I ever feel it? Was it me? Him? Or both of us?
Was it her? Or me? Or both of us?